2nd and 3 from the 27 of Columbia for the Lion offense. Rolling out to the left with time is Nottingham under pressure, brought down in the backfield at the 15. Here, two receivers to the right, one to the left, 1st and 10 to the 42 of Columbia. Here's a jet to the left. Koonce breaks it up the near sideline to the 30, up to the 25-20, moves towards the pylon, cuts inside of the 5, gets down towards the goal line, and he is a half-yard short. The left hash 1st and goal from the 1. 12:20 to go, 4th quarter, Fordham by 38. It's a give, up the middle, rushing to the right side. Koonce into the pile. He is in to the left. Nelligan, Flannery, and Hollis. Trips left and a diamond on the left hash, ball on the right hash. Taking the snap, 1st and 10 from the 13. Throws up the left side towards the goal line. It's intercepted, and he did stay in bounds. Jordan Chapman, what a catch at the 3-yard line. Gets under center, takes a snap, takes the knee, and this one is over. Clock ticks down below 20. Fordham runs 87 plays, racks up 606 yards of total offense. And they retain the Liberty Cup here at Jack Coffey Field today. Fordham 52, Columbia 7, and time has run out.
And we welcome you to Monday Night Quarterback here on FordhamSports.com and WFUVSports.org. Mike Watts alongside Nick LaGerfo. We have Fordham head football coach Joe Moorhead with us, as well as assistant coach Mark Dupuis. We'll have Ian Williams and Carlton Koonce on later when we go inside the huddle. But first, we begin with Coach Joe Moorhead. And Coach, that's a nice shiny trophy behind us to get that win over Columbia, 52-7. Did you think that it would be such a blowout? And tell me how that game progressed a little bit and what it means to win that.
It feels great to keep the cup at home for another year. We went into the game anticipating it was going to be a close one, like the previous 7 that had all been decided by 7 or less points, and we played very well defensively throughout the game. Did well on special teams. Offensively, we had a lot of yards and a lot of first downs in the first half, and not much to show for it. But we got things straightened away in the second half and, put together a pretty good 2 quarters.
And, Coach, you talked about it. You guys pretty much dominated the game first half statistically, only had 10 points to show for it. What was the biggest difference into the second half that eventually led to the offensive output you guys had?
We weren't capitalizing on our opportunities in the red zone. We missed a field goal, I believe it was on the 1st or 2nd drive, and then we had a couple fumbles and then didn't get any points on the last drive of the half where we fumbled it there. So, we took care of, some, minor adjustments at the half and ended up really, quite frankly, offensively just finishing our drives. I think we ended up 5 for 7 in the red zone on touchdowns, and, we were the recipient of some good field position through special teams and defense. So we played a good complementary game of football.
Now, Coach, bring me through the first half. Things weren't necessarily going your way really in terms of finishing drives, but the defense was playing very well, pitching a shutout really through the 4th quarter when the first teamers came off the field. Tell me what you saw in the first half, the adjustments that you tried to make, minor as they may be, to try and maybe push the pedal down in the second half.
I mean, honestly, like schematically, as we sat down as a coaching staff and talked about things and adjustments, there really wasn't anything from a play call changing standpoint. It was just a matter of, finishing in the red zone. And, we were calling the same plays. We really didn't kind of draw up anything in the dirt. It was just a matter of, us getting into the end zone as opposed to fumbling the ball away or missing field goals. So offensively, we just, I think we did a good job capitalizing on our opportunities. In defense, the key was, Garrett's a fantastic running back. He's a very good player. And the key was to be able to shut down the running game, make them one-dimensional, and pressure the quarterback because, Nottingham's, a good player, and, we were able to, get them moving around in the pocket a little bit and pressure them, and I think, like I said, the defense did a great job.
You mentioned it, Brett Nottingham, a great quarterback for Columbia. Stanford transfer coming into this game, FBS experience. How big of a concern was it for you guys to contain him and to limit his ability to throw the ball down the field?
It was a very, very big concern. You looked at him coming out of high school. He was a 4-star Rivals recruit, ranked, I think, as one of the top 5 drop-back quarterbacks in the country, and was Andrew Luck's primary backup, had played some ball, at Stanford, and, he's a big kid who can throw the ball very accurately, and as you watched him in pregame throwing the ball, it was pretty impressive, and, the chances that he had to set his feet and throw in the game, he threw some very accurate balls, so it was a major concern entering the game.
So, Coach, let's take a look at one of the plays where he didn't get to set his feet. This is a play that really, I think, may have been a turning point for the defense. It's a 24-yard sack. Let's take a look at this highlight here. And Coach, what was the call here? And then to be able to bring this guy down in the backfield, was he elusive back there?
You know, we just had it was a base zone call there, and we had a twist game up front with some line movement, and the guys were able to, get him stepping up in the pocket and weren't able to let him flush out, and just did a good job being relentless to the ball and, getting him down on the ground.
Well, and how much of a difference does it make to suddenly go from, it may have been 1st and 10, whatever it may be, to 34 yards to go? That sets them back not only field position-wise, but also it makes it almost impossible statistically to get a first down.
Yeah, it's something even we talk about offensively, that there's not many good calls on the call sheet for 2nd and 34 or 3rd and 20. So anytime you can, get a team behind the sticks on 2nd and 3rd down, it lessens their chances of converting 3rd down, gets the defense off the field, and gives the offense a good chance to get the ball in good field position.
Now let's transfer over to some of your guys that had big games. A lot of them. Michael Niebrick, one of them. Carlton Koonce, who's going to be on later on the show today, had another great game. And what is it about Carlton Koonce that makes him so dangerous when he gets the hands on the ball?
No, he's got a great combination of speed, elusiveness, and deceptive power for a smaller guy, at least in stature. And he understands the scheme well. Coach Zets does a good job coaching him, and I think the thing that you see from the film is he's very patient. He doesn't just run blindly into the backs of his blockers. He understands the blocking schemes. He knows when to slow it down, knows when to speed it up, and when he gets to the edge, he's very hard to catch. So, I think it's a combination of all those things.
Absolutely. And we've talked about some of the guys that maybe had big roles in this game, whether it be Carlton or Mike Niebrick, and even the receivers. Brian Wetzel had a very nice game. Tabucky Jones caught a touchdown. Talk about the offensive line for a moment. We haven't spoken about them much so far this year on Monday Night Quarterback. They played another very solid game, opening holes and in pass protection, being able to keep Michael Niebrick upright for most of the game. Talk about the progression they've had this year and how you feel about their play.
I think it's huge when you had to replace 2 All-League players. Chris Watkins was a second-team All-League player, graduated at center, and Lloyd Morrison was first team at guard. And, we replaced those guys. And to me, the offense knows that I challenge those guys every week, that I believe the games are won and lost up front. So if we're able to establish a run game, which we've been able to do, and protect the passer, and, I tell them that if they give Michael a chance to set his feet and look downfield, we're going to have guys open. So, and in this game in particular, Mason Halter was, out the whole week with the flu and didn't play, and Matt Stoltz stepped in for him and did a good job. But I can't be effusive enough in my praise for those guys. Coach Rodriguez does an excellent job with them, and they know we go as they go offensively. So they need to continue their steady improvement.
Definitely. This is definitely a big win for you guys against a rivalry, Liberty Cup on the line. How much did the emotions of the game play into this one?
To me, the emotions, guys get fired up in pregame, they get fired up in the locker room, and that emotion stuff kind of lasts for about a series or two, and when that wears off, you fall back on your preparation and your execution of the scheme. So we want guys to play hard. We want them to be emotional. We want them to be enthusiastic throughout the game. But at the end of the day, they're going to win or lose based on how they execute and how they prepared, not on how much they want to win or how excited they are. But that is obviously an additional bonus if they're able to be out there and having fun.
Coach, let's take a look to a play later on in the ball game. A bit of a momentum. It really more furthered the momentum rather than shifted it one way or another. It was a play on special teams. Let's take a look here. We've got a kickoff here by Mike Miranda, and J.Q. Bowers making a big play. Take me through what maybe you tell him to do on special teams and what happened right here.
No, the kickoff's a deep middle, and the guys stayed in their lanes. They did a good job avoiding. And, Adam Milquist did a good job slowing them down, and J.Q. got in there, was able to stand them up and just strip the ball out and cause a fumble. And, special teams, we did win the hidden yardage battle in that game. I believe the average starting field position for us was a -36, and for them it was a -23. Mm-hmm. We only missed 1 field goal, and we recovered a muffed punt on the 1 going in, and then that set up field position, and we scored on the next play on the pass to Brian Wetzel. So, special teams is a third of the game, and Coach Sussie's done a great job, and if we can continue to capitalize on the opportunities, I think it'll be very good moving forward.
Well, and how often do you see that? A play like that where a guy literally walks up, pulls the ball out of his hands, and then just falls down on it?
No, you don't see it too often. Generally, you see the thing get pulled out and it bounces around the ground a little bit, and there's a scrum and someone comes up with it. But the act of just ripping it out of his hands and then it not going anywhere except on the ground with the guy who pulled it out of there. It was rather unique play, but one we'll take when we can get.
And this win being such a big win against a rival, as we mentioned it before, a lot of talk going into this game that this is kind of a trap game. And this is kind of a big test for your team to pass, to not allow themselves to get trapped in a game like this. How big do you think it was for your team to win this game, even when they could have overlooked Columbia a little bit?
I think it's a sign of a team that's maturing and understands the things that are necessary to win on a consistent basis. And we talked about it Sunday, following the Temple game, that our level of preparation, effort, and execution shouldn't vary relative to the level of the opponent. So regardless whether we're playing Temple or Columbia or whomever, we need to practice the same way, we need to give the same effort, and we need to execute our scheme the same. And if we control the controllable and worry about ourselves, then there shouldn't be such thing as a letdown.
All right, well, Coach, we'll continue to talk to you about upcoming games here in just a moment, especially St. Francis coming up next week. But first, let's go and talk X's and O's with Fordham assistant wide receivers coach Mark Dupuis. Coach, thanks for stopping by. First time appearance.
Absolutely. Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Coach, first off, I have to ask, best hair on the team. How is it that you keep it in such great condition?
Well, first of all, it takes a lot of work ethic. You know what I mean? You have to pretty much get up 5 to 10 minutes early every day. Make sure you're in a mirror. So, there's a lot that goes into it, but I like to think I pull it off.
Well, let's get down to the real business here. First off, your wide receivers have really come out strong here. You've got a freshman, Solano, and then some older players in Wetzel and Jones and Ajala who have played very well. What are the things that you've seen this year? This is your first year at Fordham.
Right.
The progression for some of these guys since they came back for this camp.
Well, I arrived here. We had actually been practicing a couple times. So, to me, the progression has been very real even since camp, when it started there. Tebucky Jones is the type of player that'll get a lot of extra work after practice. And Brian Wetzel, he still amazes me with the things that he does. I can't say that I coach some of the stuff that he does. He just has a very good feel for the game. He's a very smart, has a very high football IQ, so he makes a lot of plays that, you don't even think are going to be there. And then Sam Ajala might be the person who's impressed me the most. At the start of camp, we saw exactly what level of talent that he had. And, to see the way that he's bought into the system and really come on strong this year has been, impressive to me. And,
Coach, you mentioned it. Tebucky Jones has really turned it on these last couple of weeks, ever since really the Villanova game. What has it been the difference between his play the first week against URI to where he is now?
I don't think it was necessarily that Tebucky played poorly against URI. It's just that the system and the game plan, against that type of scheme that they were playing had better answers to our X position and our H position with Sam and Brian. But, Tebucky has been a very consistent worker. He does a great job preparing for games as far as knowing his assignment. And, like I told you, he does a lot of work after practice and extra work in the weight room and stuff like that to always be physically prepared for games as well. So I fully expected that from Tebucky.
Now, so Coach, you mentioned that Sam Ajala's impressed you a lot this year. There was some talk about him really maturing over the last couple of years, and even when you guys played UConn against Fordham, when you were still with UConn, you saw him play and have a pretty big game, his first college game. In terms of his progression, how much of it is mental and being able to get the little things right, and how much of it is maybe physically maturing?
Well, I can't speak too much for his physical development, only having been here a couple months. But from his attitude standpoint, and like I said, buying into the system and really trusting that, if he just focuses on himself and his own preparation, that, the system will make plays and that, like you said, buying into the idea that the little things matter. Sam has done an amazing job improving just in the time that I've seen him. And I think it's really paid off for him.
Moving on, let's talk a little bit about Brian Wetzel. You said he's an extremely talented guy. He had another big game this week against Columbia, 2 touchdown catches. What is it about Brian Wetzel that makes him so dangerous?
Brian has just got a great feel for the game. He understands defenses and coverage schemes as well as any coach on our staff, I think. So, he always knows the way that the defense is playing him, and he always has a plan going into every single play about, what he needs to do to beat it. So, like I told you, he's a very impressive person to be around.
And so let's take a look at one of the highlights here for Brian Wetzel here. It's a throw deep up the left side, and Brian Wetzel just seemed to outrun him. What was the play call there? What was the coverage, and how does he get open there?
Well, Coach actually in the booth did a great job of recognizing that they were going to blitz pre-snap, so Coach Moorhead did a good job of getting us into a play where Brian was going to have a one-on-one matchup. And, Brian just did what he does and got himself open for a long touchdown. It was very good.
Well, we've got another highlight here for Brian Wetzel. It's a throw over the middle near the goal line. We see him run deep a lot of the time, but him on crossing routes, is that something that you guys are looking for? And what do you see on this play specifically?
Well, down there in the red zone, we had a kind of a different plan to attack their scheme, and we knew the type of coverage that they were going to be in. And again, we thought it would be a good matchup there, Brian, against the safety on that crossing route that you talk about. So, he was able to get himself open yet again, and Michael did a great job delivering him the ball there.
Okay, Coach. Moving forward to you, St. Francis this week. What do you guys have to do to become effective against St. Francis this week?
Well, St. Francis, they play a variety of coverages. They're going to do some things to take away some of the deep balls that we've been throwing. So we're definitely going to have to be on our A game. And, Coach Moorhead mentions it every week. The only thing that matters is our preparation, our effort, and our execution. And we really got to earn the right to win this week in practice. And I think if we do that, then our preparation will take form on Saturday.
And, Coach, in terms of playing FCS opponents, you were in FBS for a while working with the UConn staff as a student.
Yes, sir.
Coming now to FCS instead, some of the programs that you haven't seen before, how much of a transition is it from going to maybe a team where you're in the same conference and you see teams again and you get a feel for them to now not really knowing much of anybody on the schedule?
Well, that always keeps it interesting, but at the same time, you realize that football's football. Teams play the same sort of defenses against you, and teams, if teams throw the deep ball, then, defensive coordinators have the same answers that they do at the FBS level. So, not much has changed. Just the same process that, we've had at UConn is working right here at Fordham for us. So, it's not too bad.
All right, Coach. Well, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully we'll have you back. Another couple big performances for your receivers, perhaps?
Hopefully very soon.
Coach, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we go inside the huddle with two Fordham players with a big role this season's 4-0 early start. We begin with defensive back Ian Williams and running back Carlton Koonce. And Carlton, let's begin with you. Senior year for you, to get the Liberty Cup win again, having a big game, you're from the Northeast. What does it mean to you to win that?
It definitely means a lot. Anytime you have a rivalry game like that, and what this game means, the magnitude of it, what it stands for, and then there's the competitive nature between two teams like Columbia and Fordham, the Battle of New York for the Liberty Cup. It was great to come out and have a statement win like that. And in the past, since I've been here, I've never lost to Columbia. And it wasn't about to happen Saturday. So just to be 4-0 against Columbia throughout my career is awesome. So so once again, a statement win, and I was happy to be a part of it.
So Ian, a big game for you as well against Columbia. You're from Florida. What does the Liberty Cup mean to you coming from a different part of the country?
I think it has the same meaning behind it, because I think most of all that we were playing that game for people that used to go here that was unfortunate to pass away in 9/11. And I think Coach just made it clear that we were going out there to play for them.
Absolutely. And Carlton, let's go to you. Let's take a look at a play from this game here. Let's begin in the first quarter, trying to get on the board. A couple of plays that really open things up. First, this pass out of the backfield that we'll begin with. And tell me what the play call is. And you were a receiver. How much does that help in a play like this?
Right. Well, anytime, you get your athletes out on the perimeter, it makes it, that much easier. Playing receiver, definitely something in this offense, being a running back and, being able to catch the ball at the backfield, having sure hands like that, it definitely helps. So what we just had was it was a draw read. Michael has the option to either keep it or throw it, depending on what the defense does. And, they blitz, so we threw it out there, and then we were able to get positive yards on it.
And then this quarterback handoff there, the jet to the right. Take me through that and what you saw as you worked towards the edge.
Right. Well, a simple inside zone play. They did a good job, Columbia did, of, clamping down the middle, pinching their guys in. And, fortunately, I was able to break the contain, and I was able to scamper outside and, a fairly easy touchdown. So, it was something simple right there, but our O-line did a good job of covering guys up.
Sure, and we'll get to Ian's highlight. It was a big one in just a moment. Let's go ahead and take a look at another play ahead here later in the game. Another touchdown. This one first a 50-yard carry, Carlton, and then finishing it off on the next play. Let's start with that longer carry. What did you see when you worked towards the edge?
Right. Well, it was an outside zone play. We were trying to just stretch the defense out, get them to go horizontally, go lateral flow, and the cutback. The left side did a great job on that play. Garrick did a good job, getting to the next level. The linebackers covering him up, and then I was able to, make a cut off of his block, and then Mason's block as well, and then I was able to, get up the sideline for good yards.
And then on that next play, you're 1 yard away. You're not the biggest guy. What are you trying to do? Right. Are you looking for a hole specifically, or are you trying to get behind the lineman and push your way in? What's your thought process there?
Right. Well, yeah. 2 yards is only 2 yards. It's the goal line. So, in that case, all you need is a little seam. Especially, guy like my size. People might think, you're not a goal line back, but actually, it actually works in my favor. The tiniest of seams, I can find and squeeze through. So it doesn't take me much to get through there. So you're just trying to find, the smallest crack in the crease. And fortunately, I was able to do that, and we were able to score.
So Carlton comes up with a couple of big offensive touchdowns. Meanwhile, we've got a guy running off a cornerback blitz, gets a strip sack. First off, in terms of defensive touchdowns, how many have you been a part of, either guy who forces a fumble that creates a play like that, or an interception return, or even a special teams touchdown?
I'm not quite sure how many I've been a part of yet, but hopefully I can get that to you next time.
Hopefully there's another, by that point, another touchdown for us to talk about.
Yes, sir.
Let's take a look at that play on the screen here. For you, a cornerback blitz, what are you reading on that initial, once you get the play call in, what are you looking for?
Well, I'm not really looking for anything. I know my assignment, and I just know I gotta hide it or show it very late as late as I can, And on that play, Coach said to us that we did a great job in disguising it, and hopefully we can keep that up, and he'll call it again, and we can have the same result next time.
So you get that big hit. Did you see the ball going towards the end zone?
Actually, I didn't. I really didn't see. I didn't see the ball get popped out of there. I just know I gave him something to feel.
And so, bring me through that. For you, that's a pretty open hit for you, isn't it? That's about as easy as it gets, lining it up.
Right. And I think the main thing that we just got to concentrate on now is that, especially with the new rules that are being applied, is that we got to stay or aim lower on the body, because that could have been very well a helmet-to-helmet hit if they were to call that.
Absolutely. Is that something you think about as a defensive back? There's plenty of plays over the middle of the field. Do you think about helmet-to-helmet contact? Is that something that goes through your mind?
Well, actually, it's not something that goes through my mind all the time, but you should be very well conscious of it, because you don't want to cost your team 15 yards just of being ignorant on the play,
Absolutely. So you get through the first half of this game. You get into the second half, a couple of big plays in the third quarter. What did it mean to kind of break things open and to get things moving? And to start with you, the shutout you guys held through the fourth quarter, how important was that for you guys to try and come away with?
I think that was awesome by the defense. And even though we did give up a touchdown, I think our defense made a statement that day. And I think as far as offense goes, if Koonce doesn't mind me putting my input out there, I think it just shows how far we've come as a team. Because I feel like last year we were known as a good first half team, but then in the second half we would fall off a little bit. And I feel like when the offense came out there and put 56 on the board for us as a team, that just shows how many steps that we've made through the last 2 years.
Yeah, 45 offensive points, a big part of that, Carlton. For you and for Mike Niebrick, I know 600 yards was something that had been talked about in terms of total offense. When the team finally got that 600-yard mark, and even as the game went along, how do you feel about the offensive flow? And even comparing it to maybe last year when you guys played Columbia and you piled up 250 yards then as well.
Mm-hmm. Right. Well, Ian couldn't have said it. I couldn't have said it better myself. Ian hit it right on the head. Offensively, having the 600 yards, it definitely is a testament to the game planning that we had, and the coaching, and the weapons that we have, and in the line play. It's just all starting to gel and come together. And we're only starting to scratch the surface. It's only the beginning. And I know we put up those as many points as we did, but we're still a lot of missed assignments, like a lot of points left out there on the field. And that's what that's the great thing about it, is that each and every week we just continue to try to get better, but yet we still find ways to put points on the board. And then with the defense playing like that, continuing to get turnovers and giving us the ball back in great field position like that, and we're able to capitalize, we're going to be tough to beat. And I think that with Mike and his running ability that he has, and the weapons that we have on the outside, and then Dan Light, and the line play, and it's just it's just, it's tough. Any defense that we're going to face, it's going to be tough, and that's what we want. That's what we want to do, and we want to force the defense to try and have to cover everybody. So I think that more than anything, I think that adds an extra element to our offense this year, and I think that's going to take us a long way.
Now, Carlton, being 16th in the country now in the most recent polls, you were 21, being a top 5 team. Coach Moorhead's talked about it a little bit, going from maybe being the hunter to the hunted. Everyone's after you now. Is that something that crosses your mind going into a game like St. Francis, where it's 5 hours away? It's a big game for them. For you guys, it would be maybe easy to have a letdown. How do you avoid that?
Oh yeah, hey, let me assure you, there is no letdown. I mean, even though we were 21 last week in the polls, 16. Everybody across the board, like players, coaches, like we all talk about it, like people across the country, like nobody respects us. Even like last week, you have like teams not be beat. We come out, we beat Temple, and in the rankings and this and that, they just continue to disrespect us. So I think that we keep that chip on our shoulder like each and every week and go out there and try to prove people wrong. Like it's not. There's no signs and no like fear of a letdown. I think as long as we keep that tenacity and that fire in our eyes, and I think the sky's the limit. So people just we just got to continue to control the controllable. And he says that and he speaks about that, and that's just going out each week and being playing the game. Right now, we're 4-0, but in our eyes we're like 0-0. So as long as we do that, I think we'll take care of business. And hey, if they want to continue to rise us, then good. But if not, then that's good too, because at the end of the day, we're not worried about what everybody else thinks. We can only control what we can control, and that's going out there and playing and winning. So so we just hope to continue that and take care of St. Francis.
Absolutely. And as you look forward to St. Francis, certainly a team that can run the football. How much film have you seen on them to this point, Ian? And a team that maybe hasn't thrown that much this year, only 49 pass attempts through 3 games. Does it change maybe how you think about a game going in, knowing that they tend to run more than they pass as a defensive back?
Well, I think it definitely changes the game plan of going into a game, because I think we'll put more pressure on them in the box and everything. But I'm not totally sure. That's just to our D coordinator to figure out, And we just look to him for our game plan, and we trust him to do what he does, because he's a great coach.
All right, now, guys, one last question here. Carlton, if memory serves, you've played a little bit of defensive back in high school, right? A little bit. You return the ball from time to time, all right? Would you be better as a defensive back at the college level, or would Ian be better as a running back? If you guys had to switch positions, who would do better?
I think we are both in the position that we should be in, honestly, right? You agree with it, right? That's it. And I feel like Koonce is a very talented running back, and I feel like he's in the right position, and I feel like I don't think I could do better than him at his position.
No,
and that's just me being honest.
At defensive back, any chance there?
No chance. Ian is one of the best in the country, one of the best cover corners. There's a reason why he's on the watch list for that stuff. It's not by accident. Works his butt off. And we can see that. We can all see that. The coaches see it, and So look. I'm where I'm at. He's where he's at. It's best for the team. So that's what it is. So. Yeah.
Fair enough, guys. Thank you for letting me inside the huddle.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's time for a look ahead. We're back with Fordham football head coach Joe Moorhead here at the end of Monday Night Quarterback. And coach, a big win, 52-7. Your team moves up in the polls going into the St. Francis game. You go from 21 up to number 16 in both the Sports Network poll and the SCS coaches poll. First, does one maybe mean a little bit more to you than the other, if either really mean much at all at this point?
They both mean a lot. I'm not sure who the voting is, or I know obviously the coaches vote for the coaches poll, and there's a panel of writers, et cetera, that vote for the others. So any recognition you can get and to be in the top 25 of a major poll is it's all icing on the cake.
And Coach, moving ahead to the St. Francis team, a team that's 1-2, but it's kind of a deceptive 1-2. They gave James Madison a run for their money a couple of weeks ago, who was ranked number 17 in the nation at that time. So what challenges do you anticipate playing a team on the road as a nationally ranked team? This is a huge game for them. What are you expecting from them?
I'm expecting it to be a very, tough game, closely contested, on the road, always hard to win on the road. And you look at them offensively, and, Kyle Harbridge is the 4th leading rusher in the country. I believe he averages somewhere in the range of 155 yards a game. They're coached by an ex-NFL all-pro offensive lineman, so they bring a smash-mouth, tough, hard-nosed mentality to the game. Very well coached, very physical. and can get the ball in the air when they need to. So offensively, it'll be a challenge to stop the run and, have great eye discipline for the play action pass. And defensively, they present multiple looks, multiple coverages, and have some very good speed on the back end. Linebackers run very well, and we're going to have to be on our A game to continue doing what we're doing.
Coach, in terms of the film you've looked at this point, would you say there's an opponent that maybe is most close to this St. Francis team that maybe you can look back on, or is this maybe a different look than you've seen this year?
I think they offer a little bit more of a unique scheme, at least from what we've seen in the first. They're more of a team that is going to run more two-back stuff than of the teams we've seen so far, and more gap schemes than zone schemes. So offensively, it'll pose a big challenge, particularly, like I mentioned before, particularly with this running back. He's an excellent football player, and they have some good skill at the quarterback position as well. And and defensively, they run some 4 down front, some 3 down front, variety of coverages. So it'll be a unique challenge.
Well, Coach, you guys have played a tough schedule to this point, 2 quality wins over Villanova and Temple, an FBS team. How much of that experience do you think will help you in a game like this?
I think it's, great when you can have trial by fire where you're playing 2 CAAs and an FBS in your first 3 weeks, and you're able to, come out of it unscathed and do some good things on all 3 sides of the ball, and, gain some confidence and gain some momentum, and, have our kids see that they just, it's not just about competing with those guys, it's about finding a way to win, and we found a way to win, and, picked up a good win against Columbia in the Liberty Cup. So, all the momentum is positive. It's all moving forward, but, we still have to, keep our feet on the ground and look forward and not back.
Coach, so far this year, you've had a couple of home games, and the road games have been pretty close. The game in Philadelphia, obviously, just a couple hours away. St. Francis, a bit of a longer haul. In terms of keeping the team loose, in terms of when they need to leave, how much does it change the team's focus going into a game like this? Not only to have a noon start, which is different than maybe the 1 o'clocks that we've seen so far, but also 4 or 5 or possibly even a 6-hour bus trip.
We'll just, Coach Marmros is our director of football operations. He does a good job setting the schedule up, and, we'll just walk through here a little bit earlier, watch the film a little bit earlier, get on the road, and, get to the hotel, and we'll just go through our normal routine. So our guys will use the long bus ride to study their playbooks, watch some tape, watch a couple movies, and rest, relax, and, once we get to the hotel, it's kind of a standard operating procedure. We'll, get to the rooms, have our dinner, have our meetings, and, it's a quick wake-up call in the morning. So, we got to be able to win on the road.
And Coach, a key for you. What's the key offensively for you heading into this game?
I think we need to continue to be able to create explosive plays while limiting our negative plays and our turnovers. I believe we're one of the top teams in the country in turnover margin. I think we need an improved ability to score touchdowns in the red zone as opposed to settling for field goals, and really kind of do what we've been doing with the the elimination of the turnovers and negative plays, and and continue to convert 3rd downs. We've done a very good job this year. I think we're first in the league in 3rd down conversions as well on the other side of the ball defensively. So if we can keep doing those things, and turnovers lose games, so we can't have 3 turnovers like we did against Columbia moving forward and expect to have a great chance to win the game.
Well, and Coach, finally, looking at a big crowd against Columbia, over 7,000, nearly standing room only. What does it mean to get all that support, to have the fans, whether it's students or alumni, coming back and supporting you guys while you're beginning to make this big move up the polls?
I think it's tremendous. I mean, and you even look at the first 2 home games that, URI and Villanova, the fan support was tremendous. The student section was electric. The alumni, the supporters, everyone, and the kids feed off of that energy. So as much as we can make this place a difficult place for the opposition and a positive one where our kids really, are able to feel that the fan support is there and that they're behind us, and it's hopefully we can see it continue to improve as the season moves forward.
Excellent. Well, Coach, thank you very much for your time. We'd like to thank Mark Dupuis, the assistant wide receivers coach, Carlton Koonce, and Ian Williams for joining us for this week's edition of Monday Night Quarterback. We'll be back again next week with another edition. For our entire WFUV crew and for everybody here working on our production, both on game day and here in the football locker room, we thank you for being with us. Monday Night Quarterback is a production of WFUV Sports and FordhamSports.com.